I never ask names when it comes to this, but the person this song is about, do they like it?
They love it. Oh, my goodness. I would love to be the muse of this song.
All right, guys, let's do this. What up? It's JoJo on the radio. This is the iHeartRadio Countdown. Maisie Peters, how have I never met you ever until right now?
I don't know. And immediately we've had a lot to discuss, and that's off air, so who knows what's going to happen on air.
Yeah, we got, of course, I'll bring up That Thing.
Yeah, That Thing.
I'm kind of known for talking about That Thing. We'll get to That Thing later on.
I've really locked into That Thing.
You know what I've learned? I learned today that when it comes to the UK and British pronunciations, I didn't know that the letter, how do you say the letter Z?
Z.
Wow, where did that come from? How did I not know that?
And you know what's funny is on the way here, I flew in this morning from New York. I got a flight at 7 a.m. and I did read the entirety of the book World War Z. But you would call it World War Z.
Right.
And that is a funny happenstance that happens to have happened today.
So we have a radio station in New York called
Z100.
Z100.
I know about Z100.
So that's how you refer to Z100 as
well,
Z100?
I probably would say Z100 because I've heard it being said.
Right.
But I would refer to it as World War Z, Z100, all these things aligned.
The things you learn.
The things you learn.
You're from, I know England, obviously. Whereabouts in England?
I'm from near a city called Brighton on the coast.
What's it like there?
Brighton is lovely. It is, as I said, coastal, although very much not like LA, sort of more rocks, more pebbles, less sort of marine wildlife that you would want to see. But I love Brighton. It's a wonderful place. It's very liberal and very beautiful. And I'm from a very small village nearby it with lots of cows and sheep. And
is that where you live
shop.
now?
No, I live in London now, but I still go back quite a lot to see my parents, and I really love getting back into the countryside. The British countryside is so beautiful, and I love that there's only one bus and it's every hour.
Only one bus?
There's one bus every hour. I do have a driver's license, but unfortunately I shouldn't be using it because I'm a menace on the roads. So I will be waiting for the one bus. And I think that's actually, there's something nice, in a world so full of immediacy. Isn't it nice to wait for just one bus every hour?
I think so. There's something kind of cool about it.
There's something Enid Blyton-esque about that I enjoy.
Seems like a movie setting. Now, I think one day, speaking of London, I would love personally to live in London someday. Would you ever consider living in, or have you ever considered moving to the States at all?
You know what? Topic of the day. But yes, I thoroughly recommend London. I love London, best city in the world. I love my life there. But I've got to say, getting to LA, it is quite nice, isn't it? It is February. It's not raining. I keep looking around me every time I leave anywhere. I go, I've forgotten something. And I think I've forgotten my coat, but I'm not wearing my coat because it's beautiful, glorious weather.
It's crazy, right?
And yeah, it is really so gorgeous here. So it's definitely, it's on the brain. But I'll always be an English girl at heart.
Well, as you should. And by the way, when it gets summertime, certainly some places more so than others in the LA area, but some places get really hot. So it's cooking at points.
I would maybe cook. I would maybe roast. I think my body would be so unused to it, it might start sort of emitting steam. So that is a good point. It's something I should think about before I make any big decisions.
Fair point. Your album Florence coming out May 15th, unless you've changed info. That's still the correct date?
It is May 15th. It is called Fluorescence, but that's a very easy mispronunciation.
Is that an English pronunciation thing, or did I just say it? I think I just said it wrong.
I think you just say a different word, but I loved that word too.
That says fluorescence?
Yes.
God, I can't. All right, I'm a dumb
It's another
American.
English pronunciation. It's an English lesson today.
I'm going with your pronunciation. Describe the sound and vibe of Fluorescence.
So Fluorescence is my third album. It is an album that centers around the journey into loving yourself, into loving somebody else, and how that grounds you and roots you. It's one of my most hopeful albums, probably one of my most peaceful, and one of my most self-aware, I think.
I can't believe I pronounced your album wrong.
That's okay.
What did I say again?
You said Florence, which is a city in Italy.
In my head, I was saying something different.
Well, maybe my next one's Florence.
God.
Maybe that's a deluxe.
Jesus.
And I credit it here.
And okay, here's a question I've been asking several artists, and I find it fascinating. What song is the centerpiece of the album, and how do you know when an album is done?
Two great questions. I think the centerpiece song to Fluorescence, there's a couple different answers it could be, but I would say right now I would give that to Audrey Hepburn, which is actually the first song that came out from the album, which the reason I released it first was because it felt very much like the theme tune to the album. If the album was going to be a TV series, I feel like Audrey Hepburn would play at the beginning of every episode.
Right.
I actually think I am, in some cases, an underthinker. Maybe with making music, it's done in some senses, it's done when the deadline is approaching. In other senses, It's done. When I decide it's done, it's done. I'm really not one to go back and forth loads. I'll sort of ruminate on it and make decisions up until the point. But when I'm really locked in and I say to everyone, this is done, these are the tracks, this is the order, I'm quite unlikely to waver from that.
And once you unveil it to the world, you don't second guess anything. Because I've talked to some artists. I think one of the guys, not Chris, but one of the guys from Coldplay told me that once they release a song, he can't hear it anymore because he thinks, man, I should have made that bridge different. The drum should have been louder there. That you don't have that problem.
No, I think in a similar way, you sort of stop listening to it in the way you did. But to me, once the song is out there, it's for everybody else. It's no longer my concern. It's graduated. It's gone to college. I'm an empty nester. I'm watching it go. Love it. And I think that I'm already thinking probably about the next thing, or about like that song and how it relates to everyone in the world, and about playing that song and experiencing it with other people. It's very much not a very personal thing between me and the song anymore. Love it. Seems like an easier way to go about life. Not like put it like you do it and you're done. Let's move on. Yeah, absolutely. You signed with Ed Sheeran's label Gingerbread Man Records in 2021. That moment you signed, there's something about that. Like, was it a pen and paper? Was it a digital signing? Excuse me. Who was there? Describe the moment you signed with the label. I'm on Ed's label, Gingerbread Man Records, but previous to that, I'd actually signed with Atlantic, and Gingerbread is a subsidiary of Atlantic. Right. So when I moved to work on Gingerbread, it was sort of a hop across, if you will. But when I signed with Atlantic, I was actually even younger. I was 17, which I think is true because my mum came to the signing, because I'm pretty sure she would have had to sign on my behalf. Right. And it was me, my mum, would have been my manager, and a lot of my UK label team who I still work with today would be in that picture, which is sweet. Was that an exciting moment when you signed to a label? It's got to be. I would think that's such a pivotal moment for any artist, right? Definitely. I was so young that it's crazy to think about now. I don't know what I even really could make of it at the time. It was so crazy. But I do remember this picture of me that my mum took on the way to London to sign the deal, and it was me at the station, like wearing a hat and a scarf, because I think it was maybe November, December, January, and I'm very smiley in that picture, so I must have been pretty pleased. This is random, but you have a twin sister, obviously. I do. I am, and maybe this has to do with the paranormal, maybe it doesn't, but do twin sisters have some sort of a ESP-type connection? She stubs her toe, you feel it. You're angry, she's mad too, and it's one of those things. I do get asked this every so often. Are you guys telepathic, all those things? I would say, I hate to disappoint, but no. However, I do feel that we've definitely gotten closer as we're older, and I feel like we're both protective of each other in a sweet way. Like, if somebody messes with her, I'm become like 7'5", and I'm going to beat down their door, and vice versa. Does she come to a lot of your shows? She does. Well, so we actually have a podcast together called Twinhood. And recently, at the end of last year, I played a show in London, my first in a while, and she came. And in many ways, Ellen was a celebrity of the show. People were coming up to me in the dressing room being like, is that your sister with a mini mic in the queue interviewing people? I said, yep, sounds highly likely. She was a big star. I have a song called Brooklyn about her and I going to New York for the first time. And I sang it. And whilst I was singing it, I asked my front of house to put a spotlight on her, so she got to have a spotlight on her. She got to dance. All the crowd were looking at her. In many ways, it's Ellen's life, and I'm just living in it. But yeah, she's a pretty big deal. Maisie, a tour kicking off April 14th, I believe, in DC. The April date, or the LA date, is going to be April 22. Do you enjoy road life? I do enjoy road life. I've done a lot of it in the last few years. I was pretty much on tour constantly for, I'd say 3-4 years, and I loved it. I love the structure and the routine of it. I think it's something really nice about knowing exactly what you're doing, and it's the same. Obviously, it can also be the same reason why it can be tricky sometimes. But yeah, I love being also with my band, just like my family and my best friends, and it's really fun getting to travel the world with them and go back to places as well. I'm going to Australia in a few weeks, and I have such a wonderful relationship with my fans there, and with so many radio stations and people that work in magazines, and it's cool to do a job where you get to build relationships and bonds with places all the way around the world. That's really cool. I think I heard a fan theory that some people think you're going to connect up with Ed Sheeran either at his date or something like that in Australia, because she gave me that look like she can't comment, but I guess there's some sort of fan rumblings going on about that. Interesting. I've not seen any rumblings, so your ears to the ground. All right then. But yeah, well, we're both there at the same time, which is exciting. A final thing on this. Describe that moment of
pre-show adrenaline to the on-stage rush? That seems like a cool kind of, I guess, a moment that only someone that's an artist would ever get to experience, you know?
I'd say pre-show, when you're waiting in the wings to go on, you kind of enter the slipstream of the performance, and my head's by that point like quite in what's about to happen and the countdown that's going on in my ears and just sort of getting ready for that. And then what I would say is when you're on stage, time goes very slow and very fast at the same time, which is hard to explain, but I feel very aware of myself when I'm on stage. For the most part, I feel like I'm really in the moment. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, it just passed me by, I don't recall any of it. But also sometimes, especially some specific shows which are especially magical, you will get to the end and you can't believe it was, you know, the hour and 15 or whatever. It feels like it just began.
I've heard some artists say it's like on those special shows, it's like an out-of-body experience where it's so amazing you kind of blank out, you know, and then you at the end of it you're like, what the heck just happened?
For sure. And it's also so preposterous sometimes that you actually as a human being cannot even wrap your head around all the thousands of people that might be there. And so it's a funny thing of being very present because I'm so in my body. I'm so thinking about my body and how it moves and the performance that I'm trying to give. But then you're also sort of out of it at the same time because you can't really wrap your head around like everything that's happening.
That's crazy. The video shoot. Give me some funny behind the scenes, interesting moments, whatever comes to mind with this crazy video shoot.
Yeah, so it was a video that was directed by Amelia de Moldenberg, who runs a show called Chicken Shop Date in the UK.
Heard of that? Yep.
Icon and legend. And then I was playing a bodyguard, sort of inspired by the film The Bodyguard, which is because in the lyric of the song, I say, call me Kevin Costner the way I'm guarding his body. So it felt sort of an immediate good idea to pay homage to such films. So it was sort of inspired by The Bodyguard, also inspired by the look and feel of Wes Anderson films. It was also inspired by the film Mr. Bean. I don't know if you've seen that, but I was really trying to bring a Mr. Bean energy to the table. And then we sort of had all that hodgepodge of references, and then I needed a gorgeous celebrity male to bodyguard. That was my role.
Yeah, who was the guy? Yeah.
It was an amazing actor and comedian called Benito Skinner, who has this amazing show called Overcompensating that I've watched and loved and thought was just so good and so funny. And so when we were looking for a gorgeous man to be in the video, Benito's name came up and I thought, look no further, that's our guy. So yeah, it was a dream come true. It was such a funny day. Amelia and Benny are both just comedy legends, so it really was just a giggle a minute. But it was just the best day. We were line dancing. I was carrying his body in my arms like a newborn baby.
Right.
There was a lot going on.
Were you really carrying him? Because they shot it where he looked like somebody could have had him propped on something.
And that's a secret I'll never tell.
Okay.
And that's a secret of show business.
Okay, fine. Hey, and it looked like an old mansion, like some crazy, beautiful old mansion.
I wonder if there were some ghosts there.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, that's what we're wondering. It was an old sort of stately home-esque thing in the outskirts of London.
Regards. What else would you like to say about this track, or should I just hit the red blinking button and go for it, Maisie?
Well, I'd love to say that it's the best song in the world.
Yes.
Absolutely, and that you should obviously play it many more times after I leave.
Right.
But I would love to say it's a love song. It's a song that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's about my relationship that I'm in, but it's meant to be sang loudly with a smile at the top of your lungs, preferably with a couple of friends, preferably with like a glass of wine that's sort of sloshing about as you're dancing on the table to it.
I never ask questions and I never ask names when it comes to this, but the person this song is about, do they like it?
They love it. Oh my goodness, I would love to be the muse of this song. I feel like the power that I have is to bring both good and bad to people's lives. And this is a song where I'm like, wow, if I wrote the song about you, I would be so pleased. And I've definitely done some. If I wrote the song about you, I would feel pretty afraid. So it's good to bring a kindness to the music that I write.
Maisie, two-part question. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of shows. What do you think your best live performance ever was? It just about was as perfect as it can be. Then, the complete flip of that, Maisie, what do you consider your worst? Everything went straight to absolute hell.
So I can tell you that obviously the worst immediately because they've become, fated law within my band and I. There's two shows that spring to mind, I think. And all a fond memory at the same time, but I played my hometown show from a place called Brighton, and there's a venue called Brighton Dome, which is actually an old Regency palace and was where like the Prince Regent kept his horses hundreds of years ago, and now it's this beautiful venue, and I grew up going there. Saw all my first shows there, finally got to play it. Best day of my life. Unfortunately, I was done so much touring, I'd really lost my voice, and by the time I went on to do the show, I was squeaking, and I just remember going on, and I really remember just being like, this will be bad, but like, okay. I just embraced the bad, and so that was I was just squeaking my way through that one. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I've definitely played shows with minimal attendees. I played one show in a Scottish regional library in maybe 2017, and the people that came was just everyone that lived in the town, because that was just the nightly entertainment. So it was like grandmothers and babies, and even then it was a relatively low attendance, considering the fact I was the only thing that they could possibly see that night. So those two would go in the halls of fame. The best would be, I've played so many amazing shows. What immediately springs to mind is, I would say, I played a show in New York. I actually have loved a lot of my New York shows. I played a show in Hammerstein Ballroom that was amazing. Oh, wow. I love that venue. And I also would shout out, I played a show in London. The last show of my previous album, The Good Witch, I played in Wembley Arena, which is like 11,000 people, I think. And that was so special. It was we'd done that whole album. We toured it. It was all really leading up to that moment. And it was so fun. Ed came out actually and did a guest slot. It was big of me to let him on the stage, I know, as a young up-and-coming artist. And my family was there, and my friends were there, and it was just such a fun night.
Maisie, I'm told you're a massive Taylor fan. I mean, aren't we all, I guess? I think you opened for her at Wembley Stadium.
I did.
Give me something on that. What do you recall from that?
It was amazing. It was a dream come true. It's basically been my number one dream to support her at a show, because she's been such an inspiration to me and such an influence, and was a lot of the reason why I started writing music. So it was incredible to be on that stage. Also, the Era Tour was just so iconic and so record breaking and genre defying, and it was so cool to just be a tiny part of that history. And it was so cool to be in that stadium. It was actually my first ever Taylor Swift show, which is crazy because I've been a fan for a long time. But to just be with all the other Swifties and play my set to them and see so much enthusiasm and love from all of them, and then also go into the stadium and watch her Taylor show with all of my friends and family again, and I was wearing a piece of merch, and it was just the best time.
I assume you and her had a bit of an interaction. If anything you can share, like what was that moment like? It
was amazing. Again, she was so sweet and lovely to me, and was really generous with her time, and I gave her a couple of books as a present, and she was really grateful. Aww. And it was very sweet. She was a legend.
Maisie, here's the question that I ask almost everybody, because I am obsessed with the paranormal.
Yes.
Ghosts, haunted houses, all that stuff. I got a podcast called Paranormalish. I talk to people who've had real paranormal encounters. I know, I'm off the deep end. Have you ever had anything you would consider a paranormal encounter?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I actually just thought of the best one ever.
Let's go.
So, okay. I have not shared this story, I don't think, publicly anywhere ever, but I did a film called Dating Billy Walsh, I think, and it was filmed in the British countryside. So myself and my band go to the British countryside to be in this film. We're a cameo, we're playing at a prom, and we're in this very old, I think we were maybe in Yorkshire, so this like very old hotel. And this story is actually not about me, but it's about my drummer called Jack. So sorry, Jack, I'm sharing the story. But Jack goes to his hotel room to like get into his room, and there is an old woman outside of his room or something, and they get talking, and then the old woman goes, "What's your name?" And my drummer goes, "My name's Jack Geary." And the old woman goes, "No way, that was the name of my dead husband."
Oh,
and
God.
He's buried in the graveyard near the hotel. So that Jack tells us this, and Jack's got a couple screws loose, so we're kind of like, okay. Anyway, I can't remember fully, but we try and find this woman again, and basically it turns out that no one really knows who we're talking about, like in the hotel, and there's not many of us staying in the hotel either. It's a very tiny town, and it's really just the film cast that are staying there. So who's the woman? We then try and go to the graveyard to find the Jack Geary headstone. We unfortunately never find it, but I do feel like there's some paranormal in that for sure.
Was there ever, in fact, a woman alive?
Well, unfortunately, we don't know that. And the problem is that the source is Jack, and he is a dubious source. So we don't really know. But it did feel, and the hotel was so spooky, and the town was so spooky that to me there is some spook in that for sure.
All right. Sometimes I also ask artists what I call the Haunted Hotel Challenge. Now, we talked about this a moment ago. This is not for you.
Okay.
But I'll generally say, hey, would you ever consider requesting the haunted room at one of your stops, But here's another idea I came up with a while back. I think at one of these hotels, because as you know, a lot of them are haunted, looking out for room B340, the 7th floor is haunted, don't look into the mirror and whatever. There's always something at these hotels. I think with your guy Jack or one of your band members, request the haunted room, put them in
somebody else into it
without them knowing.
I love that idea.
And we'll have a pure experiment. Like if something doesn't happen, then okay.
I would definitely send Jack in there.
Please do that. Don't tell it. Don't say a word.
Although we discussed this before we went on air, is that I'm quite a superstitious, afraid person, and hearing you say that there's likely a haunted room of a hotel makes me think that you've added a whole new level of something to my life where I'm now going to check with every single hotel, like checking this is not the haunted room, and they'll be like, we don't have a haunted room, and I'll be like, that's a lie. I know you do. I know you do. Don't put me in there. Also, so I'm gonna definitely have to start thinking about that now, which is a blessing and a curse that you've just brought to me.
Let me, if that happens, can you hit me back and say, hey, JoJo, we did this. Here's what happened.
I'll send you in. I'll say I'm calling my guy JoJo. He's gonna come and do a recce. Wow, I actually just can't believe
this is gonna be so good.
This is
so good. I once went to the Roosevelt Hotel here in L.A. and I requested a certain room.
Did you?
Yes, and the guy behind the desk said, why did you request room number blah blah blah? And I said, well, it's the haunted room, right? He goes, I just wanted to hear you say that. And he put me in the room, and it was a buzz.
I do want to ask you, but I don't know if you're going to tell me on air, if I have to ask you afterwards, but what's the most paranormal thing that's ever happened to you?
I've had doors slam in front of me, multiple doors at the same time with no explanation. I haven't seen like a ghost walk in front of me, but I've seen doors just like just from wide open to completely shut, and I can't for the life of me figure out.
And there's no wind.
It was inside a high rise.
Wow. Was it haunted? Did you know it was haunted, or was that just a...
I'll tell you the rest of the story off air.
Okay,
It's pretty wild.
Me just wanting to know the story while we are on air. That's fair.
Maisie, you wrote and recorded a lot of this album, Fluorescence, in Nashville. Any interesting or fun Nashville stories?
Well, there's a song on the album called Girls Just Flying, and in it I talk about going to Santa's and singing karaoke, of which I did do. I don't know if you've ever been to Santa's. It's like a very small, tiny bar that's actually kind of Christmas themed all year round.
Right. Ooh.
And you can sing karaoke, and if you go late in the evening, especially on a weekend, it'll be rammed. But if you go kind of early on a weekday, it's fairly empty apart from some iconic regulars. And so I definitely went to Santa's quite a few times and did a lot of different covers. I did I Will Survive, which is what's in the song.
Love it.
But I also did Life is a Highway, Rascal Flatts. My friend said Goodbye Earl, and I sort of sang backing vocals. I think we did Fernando by ABBA. There's been a lot of Santa's moments. And I actually went, when I was in Nashville, one of the most recent times when I was recording the album, Ed was there and Noah Khan was there, and they did a night together at Santa's, like singing songs back and forth. Which was amazing with fans, and luckily I was there, so I got to go. And afterwards they finished up, and they were so sweet, and they're both legends, so they were both just like hanging there the whole night, like talking to fans and everything. And whilst they were doing that, I thought, so strange that no one's on this karaoke machine. So I did get on the karaoke machine, and I'm pretty sure I followed up their performance, their unbelievable performance with maybe It's All Coming Back to Me Now by Celine Dion. Maybe it was that. I definitely followed it up, and I remember hearing someone being like, is she Maisie? And I was like, no, I'm just a girl.
I don't know
I'm
who
just
that
a girl
is.
in this bar.
Never heard of me.
Never heard of her.
Hey, did Julia Michaels or Marcus Mumford record in Nashville with you, or did they email vocals back and forth?
So Marcus did his vocals in his home in England. He has this beautiful studio, I think, in his home in Dorset, maybe it is. Julia actually did do her vocals in Nashville, but not when I was there. So fun fact about that song is we wrote that song when the album was almost wrapped. And then I had a session with Julia, and we happened to write the song Kingmaker that we both loved, and she wanted to be part of it. And I thought I would jump at the chance for that because I love her. So we were sort of trying to finish it quite quickly. But what was cool was that she happened to be in Nashville when we needed her to do vocals. So she got to go in with Ian and Conrad, who were the producer and engineer, which was amazing because then she was still very much part of that Nashville process. And Marcus was on the phone to us all the time whilst we were in Nashville, and is also really close with Ian. So in a sweet way, it felt like everyone was sort of still working in the same place, even though not purposefully.
I cannot wait to hear this album.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question that might be a bit controversial. Ed, I don't think he appreciated it too much. Louis Tomlinson said, "JoJo, you're trying to piss me off." It always has to do with an artist from London or an artist from the UK. How do you make a proper cup of British tea?
Oh, okay. Well,
this is not the controversial part.
Okay, well, this is interesting because I feel like my answer is the obvious one, so I would be intrigued to hear what they say. But the obvious one is, so you boil the kettle.
Right.
Now I'm second guessing what I do. You boil the kettle, you pour the water in.
Before the tea bag, right?
Well, now I'm like, okay, I think you can put the tea bag in first, and then you pour the water on top of the tea bag, so it sort of like pressure jets the tea bag. And then you take a spoon, and this is what I do, although my mum doesn't like it because she doesn't like a very strong cup of tea, but I like a strong cup of tea. So then I like bash the tea bag.
Get all the stuff out of there.
Yeah, I'm bashing it against the side of the mug for a while. And then it depends how patient you are. I'll leave it to stew if I'm patient. If I'm not, I'm bashing it for a while, then I'm taking it out. Then it's the milk. And then if
just a little beep or a lot of
milk?
milk?
I'm a little beep. But some people I know, like, again, my mum likes quite a milky tea, whereas I'm doing like just a little splosh and then maybe some sugar if I deserve a treat. But I can't stop putting sugar in my tea because I eat so much sugar. I'm a sugar addict.
Same.
So I need to, some things must be sacred.
The controversial part. Mm-hmm. Would you ever, under any circumstance, consider microwaving the water as opposed to boiling it in the kettle?
I would never do that because I would always have a kettle, and one of America's greater failings is that you guys don't have kettles in your homes, and I don't really understand. Like, they're also really useful. It's not just for tea. I use it when I'm making pasta. Boil the water in the kettle, pour it in the pan because then it's it's quicker. It's quicker to be making the pasta because the water's already boiled, and I'm doing that all the time with lots of things.
We need to get our kettle game.
You need to get your kettle game up. I know you can do it, guys.
Maisie, what's your friends' family reaction to your success so far? They must be loving it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously happy for me. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years almost.
Right.
And so in some level, they're kind of used to it, but they still get such a kick out of some things. Like, I just did a fashion show. Actually, last night in New York, I went to the Tory Burch fashion show, and I sent the pictures to my family group chat, and they were all so excited, and everyone was like, "You look so cool, and I love your outfit, and look at you on the front row." So everyone still gets so excited about stuff like that.
Message to your fans.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all the support. I know some of you have really been here a long time. As I said, I've got fans that came to my show at the Troubadour, which would have been in 2019.
Wow.
2019. So if you've been here since then thank you so much. If you've just joined, welcome, and thank you so much. And everything I do is for you guys.
A quick recap. Fluorescence out May 15th. The single My Regards, that's out now. Tour kicks off April 15th in D.C. What else do people need to know about Maisie Peters? Maisie Peters?
Well, we've covered a lot, to be fair.
Did.
But I would say, I did mention it earlier, but I do have a podcast with my sister. It's called Twinhood. It's very silly, but it's very funny. And I think if you enjoyed my good humor and British wit and charm, you would love Twinhood. So you should go listen.
Maisie, thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
And please do that thing, the haunted hotel thing with your, you said your drummer? Is that what he is?
Yeah, Jack. I'm going to be sending him in. It's actually, I can't believe we've never thought of it before. The rest of the band are going to be so excited that we get to do that to him.
Excited to hear this. I'll
send you the results.
Maisie, at the end of every interview, fist bump to make it official. Give me a little.
Way.